あるとマイクみたいになりたい。でも電話してくれない。オークランドとブックレンドから世界チャンピオンバーチャルプローズ始まるよ。バーチャルプローズ。バーチャルプローズ。
Boy, you should know that I had you on my mind, secret admirer. I've been watching you. Should I swing my way? Sure look good to me. Now would you please swing my way? Should I swing my way?
Episode 12 of the Virtual Pros Podcast. My name is Al, a.k.a. ASAP Vrtl, a.k.a. Flocka Michinoku, a.k.a. Henny Omega, a.k.a. Fob Van Dam, and with me is Mike.
Hey, this is Mike, a.k.a. El Hijo del Meltzer, a.k.a. Crack Saber Jr., a.k.a. Hot Dog Vashon.
On today's episode, good fan etiquette, best fan practices so you don't come off like an asshole. You can reach us on Twitter at VRTLPros. Also peep our Instagram. The fact that we've gotten more followers in a month than we have on Twitter for 4 months kind of makes me feel good because Insta's for the young folks. So we're kind of with it, but I still can't figure it out. Hit us up on SoundCloud, Virtual Pros. Hit that heart button. I like it. iTunes as well. Subscribe and email us at virtualpros64@gmail.com.
Do we have any emails to read? I didn't check.
No emails. I think someone might have sent us a picture, but it didn't go through, but it's all good. To start off the episode, as always, is Two Man Scramble. I actually have one topic that I wanted to start off with. So I heard that Stardom, they announced a talk show for their YouTube channel, and I think it's just Io Shirai, Kairi Hojo, and I forget the other girl's name. I think it's, Mayu Iwatani. I think the premise is they just talk to each other with nighttime clothes on. Mike, I think you signed up for the Stardom subscription. Is this going to keep you as a subscriber?
I did sign up for the Stardom. It was free. And they tricked me into being a member for at least another month because I did not count on them updating my membership in Japan time, so it was a day and a half earlier than I was expecting.
Yeah.
So I'm in it for a month, but you know what? All the promos and everything are subtitled in English, and that is 80% of the entertainment for me because the stuff they say before and after the matches is pretty amazing, and I'm now pretty into it because it's I was telling you, it's kind of just if it was an all-girl Street Fighter because the characters these girls have are so ridiculously stupid. Just like Street Fighter. So I'm super into it. I wish they'd update more, but I didn't know they do shows twice a week, which is ridiculous for something that I just thought was some small independent promotion, but they do a lot of shows.
So this is $5 a month, right?
Yes.
And they do 2 shows a week. So Street Fighter, who's your favorite character right now and who's the worst character on Stardom?
I'm still kind of sketched out by the little girls because there's legit 15, 16-year-old girls.
Yeah.
I like all the bigger white girls. Io Shirai is obviously the best actual wrestler I think they have.
Yeah. Kairi Hojo probably second, right?
Yeah, she's up there. She's actually probably my favorite. I think she's even beat Io Shirai on my Wrestle Bay list. So
yeah, hell yeah.
I actually wanted to bring up, are you going to mention at all that you went to the Great Sasuke thing or what?
Yeah, sure. So last Saturday, I went with my coworker to watch the Great Sasuke documentary. And that shit was super surreal because I met not only one, but 2 of my teenage idols, you could say. Great Sasuke walked by me, and that was crazy because I've only seen Great Sasuke on VHS tapes and YouTube. And it was kind of shocking because we're the same height, and I'm not a very tall dude. So that was kind of weird. And Dave Meltzer was also there. It was in San Jose, and I think he lives out there. So he also showed up. for the Hood Slam folks. I think one of the Stoner brothers was there as well. I didn't meet him, but it was okay. Yeah, it was really funny because Meltzer walked by in the theater and I was like dorking out, and like my coworker was like, she's a girl by the way, what's up Jay Rich if you're listening, she was like, why are you like acting like that? And I was like, that's Dave Meltzer. And she was like, who is that? And I was like, he's the guy that reports like about news for pro wrestling. And like the idea of someone that reports about pro wrestling news is completely fucking foreign to anyone that's not watching wrestling. So like you know, it kind of caught me off guard to like even describe who Dave Meltzer was to someone who doesn't watch wrestling, but that happened. The movie itself, like, oh, go ahead.
I saw you got a picture with him and you looked bewildered in the picture and you said you had a story about it.
It's not that funny, but so I came up to Dave after the movie very respectfully. I was like, hey, Mr. Meltzer, can I please get a photo? Because, you know, I'm into that kind of thing. And he was like, yeah, sure, no problem. The thing was, I was carrying one of my Totocon shirts. And he was like, hey, what shirt is that? And I was like, oh, it's from Battle Formation 96. And like, you know, my coworker's trying to take a photo of us, but like he's just like staring at this shirt and he's like, was I at that show? Was I at that show? Oh, I don't know. And so it's really funny on my phone. There's like 15 photos of me and Dave with like our arms around each other. And he's like not looking at the camera once. So like I might make that like a GIF one day and put it on our Twitter, but I probably won't. But it's actually really funny. Like we were like just in like one armed embrace for like a minute, and it was kind of dreamy actually. But like I was, go ahead.
Yeah, how was the documentary?
Oh, the movie like totally surpassed my expectations. Like, you don't have to be a wrestling fan to enjoy that movie. Like a lot of that movie is just about his like political run, his second one actually, and yeah, you just see how delusional is not the word, but like. Sasuke is a person that's just very committed to whatever he believes. Like there's a part of the movie where he was like, you know, God told me to wrestle, and like it's worth a watch. Like if you're a pro wrestling fan, you're definitely gonna dig like the older clips that Mikiko Sasaki, the director, included. If it comes to your town, definitely check it out.
And you interviewed her in episode 3, so if you're a new listener.
Yeah.
Go back to episode 3 and hear all about this Sasuke documentary. You also got an autograph from him. So did you, I mean, I don't know if he speaks English. Did you talk to him at all or?
Yeah, so it was actually kind of funny. Like I brought that shirt up to him and I guess in Japanese he was talking to like his homie. I guess he was just like, holy shit, I haven't seen this shirt in hella long. He didn't say it like that, but you know, that's what his reaction was. And I was like, yeah, I know. I got that rare shit on deck. I didn't like get to talk to him like that, but I mean, I shook his hand. I got some Polaroids. I got a photo on my phone that I sent you. And,
yeah,
man, it was an experience, man. Like it's kind of weird that like, I have like kind of good luck in meeting all of like these 2000 idols, like in real life. So I'm kind of thankful for it actually.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Okay. So I guess I'll get into my stuff. First off, if you guys didn't hear, Hayabusa died. That was a sobering experience for me because you texted me and I woke up to that. And that was a bummer.
Yeah.
I don't really get broken up over people dying, but as far as like the wrestler scale of people being bummed out or people dying that bummed me out, this is definitely up there with Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero for me, which were probably the 2 biggest bummers for me. I remember I was at a bar when some drunk guy was telling me Eddie Guerrero died, and I was like, you don't know the fuck you're talking about. And it was before you could check stuff on your phone. So I was like, whatever, dude. And then I remember just going home and like looking on the internet, and sure enough, he was dead. So, that was up there with that death. And, yeah, I guess he died from blood on the brain or something like that.
Yeah.
And, he was just found by a promoter that was putting on one of his music shows, just dead ass in his room or in his house. But, we will be going over Hayabusa's career in the Vrtl Pros mixtape section, so I guess we'll talk about that more later.
bit.ly/VRTLMIXTAPE.
Yes.
All capital letters, be sure you type that in. But yeah, I mean, kind of to your point, like, in terms of sad scale, like, this was the one that kind of, like, fucked with me the most. Like, he wasn't the first guy that I saw, but he's the one that definitely had the most impact. Like, he was the guy that was doing all these things that you would never see like on US TV, right? He looked like a superhero, even though that's kind of like a cliche thing to say. But he was doing all kinds of moves that like I couldn't even dream of. I mean, my AOL screen name was Hayabusa DX. Like those are like the two strongest pillars of like me as a 17-year-old. Like I couldn't have Hayabusa DX Filipino girls. You know, it kind of like surpassed the character limit. But I mean,
yes,
it was just a guy that like I thought about like almost every day, like in high school and like, you know, even into my like my adult years. And so when I found out, it definitely kind of shook me up a bit.
Yes, I mentioned, I think, on the DVD VR episode, but I embarrassingly did like a Hayabusa fan site back in the day. And I think the first time I saw him, which I was trying to look for it because I was going to buy it, but there was like, I swear it was Pro Wrestling Illustrated, but it must have been another one of those magazines. But they had like the 25 or like the 50 most beautiful people in wrestling or something like that. Like something playing off like the people, most beautiful people thing.
Yeah.
And he was in there, and like I remember it was like a picture of him like staring in the mirror, and you know he has his mask on and his Sabu pants and like all these scars, and I was just like, oh man, I got to find out who this guy is, and now we're here. Okay, next up, I'm gonna trying to do this in a kind of an order. I just wanted to, this is just a curiosity. This isn't funny or anything, but a lot of the Japanese ladies that we follow on Twitter, lady wrestlers, they seem to be posting about this wrestling where everybody's face is painted. Do you know what the hell this is?
Oh, that's a Hikaru Shida's promotion, I think, where they have like these tribal tattoos on their face, I think. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Yes.
I have no idea what that shit is. Like, I think I saw like screenshots or like pictures from the event, and it looked kind of stupid, so I never bothered to check it out. It kind of looked like a fucking play or something, but there was a wrestling ring involved, so I've never really checked it out.
If any of you guys out there are way bigger dorks than we are, can you please like send me a video of whatever this is? Because I'd like to at least check it out, but I don't even know how to. So, yeah. Let's see. Okay. You might want to cut this out later. So I don't know. This might be striking too personal for you, but I'm going to start this out. I'm going to preface this with my own little embarrassing story first. But a week or so ago, I reached out to the one Brandon Stroud on Twitter, who is the with spandex guy. He does the best and worst of Raw and the best and worst of NXT and all the stuff on with spandex that's worth reading. And I tweeted him and I said, "Hey man, you should check out our podcast. I think you'd really enjoy it." And he didn't write back, and not even like a favor or anything, just nothing. I just want to say that this internet wrestling world it's a pretty small bubble. So this is going to catch up to you one day, Brandon Stroud. Don't you worry. So that's all I want to say about that. But
well, you kind of botched that tweet. You're like, you should.
I spelled a word wrong. Big deal. It's fucking Twitter.
It's like a resume, dude.
I don't know.
You gotta fucking make sure you're coming correct with that. Like, hey, check us out message, bro.
The positive side of me likes to think he actually did check it out. He just didn't say anything, because if you're a dude who just writes on wrestling, you're not too busy to check out my fucking podcast. Like, I know he does. He probably gets inundated with a bunch of goobers like asking him to check their shit out. But I believe very, very like deeply into this podcast and how good it is. So I feel like as a pair of Brandon Strouds that he could at least respect me like the man I am and check out my fucking podcast. But whatever.
Hey, Brandon, honestly, like, look both ways, bro. I think Mike's going to give you those hands, brother. Like, you really should have fucking at least gave us a heart, bro. Come on, man.
It's a really small community, and, like, the tables will be turned someday, Brandon. And you're going to be asking for our advice. And I'm going to be like, yo, remember when you big-time me on Twitter? But anyways, that just reminded me of something that I had been meaning to bring up.
Yeah.
Now that we've been doing this podcast for some time.
Sure.
You're rubbing elbows with the likes of Dave Meltzer and the great Sasuke like
Sure.
It's nothing.
Sure.
Great Sasuke is personally tweeting you saying thank you for coming to my show.
Okay.
We get co-signed by a lot of us.
I do not like where this is going, because you like are buttering me up way too much right now. So fucking just get on with it.
We get co-signed by a lot of wrestlers, great and small. Like this is, Smoke Dizza, who is a rapper. If you guys aren't familiar. He's into our shit. And a long time ago, you DM'd Wei Ting about being on our show, and he never answered. Wei Ting does a podcast on Live Audio Wrestling Channel, and he big timed you. So now that you're getting some juice in the internet wrestling world, how do you feel about this, Al?
Here's what I thought. So I had tweeted him like, because we made that show about rappers and NXT guys, right? And I was like, man, it'd be kind of a dream episode to do a show with Wei, because I think that dude's a hip hop head. And I was like, hey, he should be on the show, like kind of indirectly. But he was like, yeah, sure, let me know. I think it's what he said, paraphrasing. And so I was like, oh shit, maybe he'll be on. And so I sent him like maybe like a 2-paragraph like DM, like, yo, what's up, Wei? Huge fan of you and John Pollock. Like, it'd be amazing if you guys can come on the show and like shoot the shit about rap and wrestling. Because I think his avatar is like Biggie and Jay-Z. So I was like, yeah, he's probably, you know, knowledgeable, and you know, he's not a fan that's super weird. So I think it'd be a good show. But yeah, long short, that dude never responded. I mean, I didn't take it personally, but Wei, as the second Asian dude in this wrestling podcast game, as the IC champ right now, you know what? Shawn Michaels got that title eventually, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah. And WrestleMania 12 is going to happen one day. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. And like the circles I run in like real life and stuff, and it's just like this internet wrestling stuff is so small where it's just like you can't big time anybody like this. Like I understand like if you're a creep that calls into wrestling shows and like not wanting to talk to those types of people, but we're obviously like astute men that could like speak for ourselves and stuff. So I don't know, whatever. Like I said, it's all coming back. Everything goes around in circles. Next up, I believe this was from Barbershop Window. They released a shirt that said hashtag backslides matter on it, as in like it sounds vaguely like Black Lives Matter, and that is, I guess, the joke. And this is probably up there with the Billy Gunn Tigger shirt as far as being a very offensive wrestling T-shirt.
Here's what kind of bums me out about our whole project. You know, we were kind of cracking on Instagram for a day or two where we got like 50 followers, and I was like, damn, we're kind of catching on. People are kind of fucking with us. And then I go to like a wrestling figure page, they just like take pictures of like wrestlers like in various poses, and those pages have like 27,000 followers. And yes. I'm starting to learn that I already knew that our audience was going to be a little limited, but I'm starting to figure out how limited it is. And so like with this shirt, like you can't be that deaf. But people fuck with that. People fuck with that whole site, like Pro Wrestling Tees and Barbershop Window. Like, you know, they have enough support to have like a fucking brick and mortar, and they have enough support to like make these daily shirts. So I mean, that's just the fandom of pro wrestling, and it's not me trying to cope with it, but it's me understanding that you and I and like the people that follow us are kind of like in a really, really small minority.
Yeah, Barbershop Window, I remember when they came out before Pro Wrestling Tees, and I was like, when they came out, I was like, finally, like a wrestling merch site that is not just for idiots. But no, it was like immediately just like idiotic shit. But this one was like a real bummer. But I think as far as our following goes, it's just kind of like it needs to be more explained. Like if somebody puts up a wrestling figure Instagram, there are only X amount of people that are into wrestling figures, and they're all going to follow the wrestling figure Instagram because they have, you know, what else are they going to do? That's like their one fucking hobby.
Sure.
So ours is like a little more, you need to explain it a little. So it'll catch on.
I know it kind of sounds like we're owed shit. I know we're not, but I mean, like, Mike and I feel like the project's pretty strong. So, I mean, you know, thank you guys for people that have like really fucked with us, like Suplexes and Blunts. Like all you dudes that like RT our shit like immediately, like you guys are super appreciated.
Yeah. I just, you know, I think it's slowly but surely it's gonna get the ball rolling, and we're gonna be the biggest shit ever. But until then,
maybe.
Finally, I gotta get your WrestleMania excitement level. Again, I'm just gonna paint the picture. Raw was yesterday. Last segment, Vince McMahon in the ring calls out the Undertaker, old man, the old veteran, 56 years old, covered in bronzer or tanner or whatever he's covered in, hobbling to the ring.
Covered in Werther's originals, you know what I mean?
Yeah, covered in Werther's originals. He gets to the ring, and then Shane O'Mac's music hits. The crowd is so silent you can hear the reverb in his entrance music, which is real sad shit. He gets to the ring. They get into a scuffle. Shane McMahon throws the weakest fucking punches ever, and on top of throwing the weakest punches ever, has the balls to style on Undertaker and do a little dance in the middle of his fucking punches. This is going to be the worst match in the history of WrestleMania. I think this is going to be worse than Undertaker Elegante. It's going to be worse than Undertaker King Kong Bundy. Like, I don't know. I personally think that they know this is not going to be a good match. There is no delusions there. But I do think they feel that whatever the aftermath of this match is going to be enough for people to forget about this match. But as an attendant of WrestleMania, how do you feel about this match going into, we have one more episode before WrestleMania. So after this, I only have one more excitement level check for you.
All right. I have a lot of things to touch upon. So the Mick Foley Dean Ambrose segment where he gives off the barbed wire bat, my excitement level was huge because that means that Brock and Dean are going to do so many blood things in that match that it'll be worth my ticket price. I fell asleep and I didn't catch Roman Reigns returning, but it sounds like Pittsburgh also did not give one fuck about Roman Reigns returning, so I don't think I missed much. But yeah, the Shane McMahon segment at the end, like he like totally fucked up his lines too. And like, I think the crowd caught on to it and they're like, I don't know, it's going to be on Botchamania soon.
Laughing. Yes.
But my excitement level it went, you know, I last episode I was kind of fronting. It's not what I'm looking forward to. Like WrestleMania is an experience. It's going to be fun to like be a part of like that mass of humanity. But like in terms of like matches I'm looking forward to, like Ambrose and like that's about it. Like Shane and Taker is going to be a spectacle. Like, will it be the worst match ever? I mean, I don't know. Come on, man. It's not going to be the worst match ever, right? You think so?
No, I don't think it's really going to be the worst match. But I mean, it's just real odd because I've said it before, but WWE, as many bad things as they do, there's a lot of things they won't ever do. Like, but they seem to be doing now. Like, Shane McMahon is definitely a civilian. He's not a big man. I don't know who he's kidding by saying he's 230, unless like he's secretly really fat or something under his clothes, because he's not 230. But yeah, he's like a civilian. Like they wouldn't even give Daniel Bryan a chance, and he's a fucking wrestler, like a real wrestler. So, and like this has to be the main event. Like I don't know. I guess they could do Triple H Roman Reigns last, but I don't know. I think that this has to be the main event. That John Cena Miz match is probably the worst main event in WrestleMania history. So I don't think they're gonna beat that as for the worst main event. But this is probably, if this ends up being the main event, it's got to be in like the top 5 worst of all time at least.
Nah, I think they have to finish. They have to finish with Reigns and Triple H though. Like the title always goes on last. Like they didn't have Rock Hogan last. You know what I mean? Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, I mean the only match I'm really looking forward to is Brock and Dean Ambrose, because I am certain that Dean Ambrose is going to pull off the upset.
I'm starting to lean that way too, but going back to Hell in a Cell, I think there is some intrigue because you and I and no one else knows how they're going to pull this off.
Yeah.
And that's really what I'm looking forward to.
I mean, it's gonna be a lot of smoke and mirrors. I feel like they might call up another young lion like Stone Cold Steve Austin to be an enforcer or something like that. But outside of that, I don't know. Have
you thought of an ending like where you'd be satisfied with that ending? I think for me, like they have to do Bulletproof. They got to do the Finn Balor thing or something for me to feel like
in
it's worth
WrestleMania.
It. Yeah, for the Shane McMahon Taker Hell in a Cell.
I feel like they're going to do some cop out where Undertaker wins, but he like forces Vince McMahon to give Shane McMahon control of SmackDown or Raw or something like that.
Well, here's my biggest gripe. Like Undertaker's kind of existed on his own like island for the past like how many years, right? He just shows up, picks who he wants to wrestle, and that's it. I just want them to explain how the fuck Vince is making him fight Shane McMahon. That's all I want, like, in this story.
Yeah.
And they haven't done it yet. Like, all they have to do is say, like, I don't know, Vince could just say, like, you're not making me money anymore after this streak ended, or anything. Just give me a fucking strand to hang on to, and I'll fucking bite. You know what I mean? But they're not doing that. But yeah, it's just, I don't know what's going to happen, and that's probably the biggest intrigue that I have for this match.
Also, the last excitement level check is the day after I'm at the last Raw before WrestleMania, so I'll have a bird's eye view of just how terrible WrestleMania is going to be. Speaking of which, we're going to talk about, you're going to a couple shows, and I'm going to a couple shows in the near future, so I think we're going to talk about some wrestler etiquette after this.
Yeah, up next, wrestling fan etiquette, best fan practices so you don't come off like an asshole. Stay tuned.
Okay, we are back here on Virtual Pros. Episode 12 is this? Are we on 12 already?
Yep.
Damn. Yeah, we're on episode 12, and we are here to talk about wrestling fan etiquette. As we said, Al is going to NXT and WrestleMania, and I am going to Evolve this weekend along with the Raw before WrestleMania. Shit. So,
is that this week, the Evolve show?
Yes, it's this weekend.
Who's the main event for that?
I don't know, man. Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle's fighting the champion. Timothy Thatcher, I think, is the champion. I don't know. I looked at the thing, and like the only person I know is like Chris Hero, and I think Crack Saber Jr. is fighting. So I hope to meet him.
Oh, tight.
And be like, yo, put me in an arm lock.
Nah,
let's take a picture.
Tell him what award he won in one of our episodes. I'm sure it'll go over fantastic.
The legendary CZW fans is there. I'm gonna see. He offered Crack Saber, Zack Sabre Jr. to see if he wanted to drink 4 Loco Golds with us in the streets of Queens. So I hope that happens, but I guess we'll see. But yeah, we're going to talk about wrestling fan etiquette because it seems now that we're doing this wrestling podcast, I'm more interested in going to live shows. And, shit's not changed at all. It's like the same shitty shit since I started going to shows as a youngin'. And the shit's got to stop. So I picked a bunch because I just think we're probably going to overlap. So we could go on and on with this. But my first one is the most important. And this not only goes for wrestling, but your whole entire life, no matter where you go. But take some showers and use some deodorant. I don't think I've ever been to a wrestling event in my life where there wasn't one person there that didn't smell like they haven't taken a shower in a couple days. And unfortunately, my lifestyle has brought me into a lot of these different subcultures where deodorant seems to be optional instead of, a mandatory thing. And I understand some weirdo punks have some hang-ups with deodorant, how it's like some tool of the government keeping their armpits from smelling natural or something and brainwashing them. But you're going to a public event, just put on some fucking deodorant. Like, I don't know, put some baby powder on your arms, do something. But shower is a definite, that is a mandatory. You are leaving the house, you are going to a public event. I take showers every day. I'm not the biggest fan of taking showers, but I do it because you have to, because you gotta smell clean. And I just don't know what your mentality is. And on top of that, you know, the people that are maybe not the biggest wrestling fans are going to be turned off because you stink. And they're going to be like, oh, they are all smelly, unwashed assholes. So that is my first one. Please, 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 for the love of God, anything else on this list is not as important as please take a shower.
I've never like encountered like very smelly fans. Like there's definitely some musky dudes that I've sat around. I will say though that like to the anime convention and Comic Con convention dudes,
for sure, yeah.
Listen to Mike, because that's like way more enclosed, I feel like, and you guys smell fucking crazy sometimes.
Yes, I average going to New York Comic Con about every other year, and it literally smells like rotting flesh like every year. And that is disgusting. You need to shower. I don't understand. It's like 5 minutes of your day. Like it's not a big deal.
All right, so we'll go from like biggest gripes to smallest gripes. My biggest gripe when I go to events is bad heckling. There's always a guy that thinks they're so smart by calling out people's past gimmicks. And if you're listening, dude, like you're an idiot. Like everyone has the internet, and it's not impressive that you yell Isaac Yankem at Kane. Like no one's like, "Ha, cool, good one, man." Like no one's ever said that ever in their lives. And there's always one guy that has this gimmick. So if you want to heckle, if you want to fucking yell at wrestlers, be good at it. Don't take the J.R. Smith, Adam Dunn approach of just chucking away heckles. You know, be like Ichiro, you know, be a little more balanced, have some good heckles, and then, you know, I can respect it. But 9 times out of 10, you're really bad at it.
Yes, that is true. Yeah, I'll touch on that later because I have a couple that tie into that. I will say I was at NXT Brooklyn, as I think I've mentioned every episode of the show. And in the beginning of NXT Brooklyn, Triple H came out and told everybody to be quiet so they could I know where you're going to go start with the show.
Yeah.
And as soon as everybody starts to be quiet, the dude about a row away from us, which was high up in the Barclays Center,
yeah,
almost to the top, yells out Chris Benoit as loud as he can. And I mean, I give him some credit for that, but it's still like, dude, come on, man. Like, have some respect. Jesus Christ.
It's just like such low-hanging fruit. Like, that's not good heckling. Like, come up with something witty, you know what I mean? Yeah, the Chris Benoit thing, or like, if you're chanting CM Punk 2 and 16, like, fucking shut up. Are you, like, he's not coming back. Like, maybe in a year or two after he gets washed by Mickey Gall or something, or like, he ever, like, if he decides to, like, not get another back surgery, then yeah, chant it then. But now, like, you sound like a loser. Like, go on pro wrestling teams.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't aggravate Vince McMahon anymore. It doesn't aggravate anybody. So
yeah, really,
just stop it. I guess if we're going in order of biggest gripes, then my second biggest gripe is, and it's still a mystery to me, is why do people bring replica belts to live events? This seems like they're really heavy for one, and you're carrying it around on your shoulder. And I don't know what you're trying to prove. You're at a wrestling event. Like, you don't go to football games carrying around a replica Vince Lombardi trophy. You don't go to a hockey game carrying around a replica Stanley Cup. Like, we know you love wrestling because you're at a wrestling event. And I think it's just trying to flex on all the other fans to be like, I have this $300 hunk of metal. I want to show it off at the only other place that people ever appreciate it besides my basement. And I don't know. You just got to stop, man. Like, it's cool. Like, if you bought it, whatever. People buy dumb shit all the time.
Sure.
But bringing in events, it just seems cumbersome. 2, you see it at indie events too, which is just mind-boggling because WWE is not fucking with, you know, your 100 person local indie event. So you don't need to bring it there unless you're a little kid. Like, the last NXT I went to, they were selling like NXT, like kids NXT replica belts for like $30.
Yeah.
And if you're a little kid, that's cool. But when you're like 28 and you're still carrying around a replica belt, I don't know, man. Like, no one's going to fuck you because of that. So just stop, please.
This might be news to you, but we have a lady listener that's listened to all 11 episodes so far. And
I love you, lady listener.
You know what? You sound contradictory because she owns a belt, and I'm trying to get her to write in. And you might have to respond soon to this belt criticism.
Does she carry it? Does she carry it to shows though?
I don't think so. She just has it.
Perfect. That is great. You can have as many stupid. I have so much Pokemon stuff in my room because I used to work there, not because I'm a big Pokemon collector. But you know what? I don't go to Nintendo World carrying around like my giant Snorlax or anything because I don't need to.
Hey, point taken. My next one is not so much a live event thing, but since we started this podcast, I've checked out other podcasts as well. And the way that some people, well, just to get to the point, like, if you rate matches with Meltzer stars, 9 times out of 10, you're going to sound like a fucking idiot. Like,
I wanted to bring this up just because you rated some matches with Meltzer stars.
No, that was joking.
Okay.
But like, I was listening to this one podcast, and they were like talking about, I don't know, whatever match they were talking about, and they were like, I might have gave it 3 1/4, but I could see how people can give it 3 1/2. Like, come on, dude. Like, you can't even like begin to explain like the differences between a 1/4 star and a 1/2 star, and it's like totally arbitrary like rating system. Like,
unless you have the Asperger brain of Dave Meltzer, because he is the fucking king of wrestling, and he knows the difference between a 1/4 star. Little snot-nosed punk at 16 years old does not know the difference between a 1/4 star.
It's his rubric, you know what I mean? So do whatever you want, you know what I mean? Like, yes. I can understand, like...
I'm sorry for insulting you, Dave Meltzer. I don't really think you have an Asperger brain.
Dude,
I just wanted to make a joke.
I told him about this show, and he's gonna listen. He's gonna fucking hear you, man. Way to blow it. Anyway.
I'm kidding, Mr. Meltzer. You're my idol.
He's also your father. But anyway, like... I don't know, it's any criticism, like with music, like I gave this like a 9.1, or any video game, I gave this 8.7. Like, just say if you like the match, like if you thought it was really good or not. That's like really the only like rating system I can respect. And if you have like real arguments, or if you think that you have like a real mathematical formula to rating matches, like you're fronting, and like no one's impressed by like how smart you think you are. Just please stop.
Yeah. In all seriousness, I've done reviews like professionally and unprofessionally for years and years. And unless you are getting paid to give something numbered reviews, don't do it, because it doesn't matter. Your opinion is completely objective. And unless you're somebody like Dave Meltzer, who literally gets paid to tell you what matches are good and bad, then just don't do it, because it's just your opinion. Okay. Did you have any more to say, or should I go on?
I'm just getting too like keyed up right now about fucking star ranking arguments. Like, it made me so mad when I heard this. I can't believe people were arguing about fucking, AJ Jericho was only 3.5 stars, but the second match was probably 3 1/4. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's wrestling, man. Just get over it. When you're younger, though, you don't have much. I don't know though, because I was young during a time, excuse me, when there wasn't that much popping. Like, the internet was just coming along. You couldn't just watch videos instantly. So, you didn't have much to hold on to. So I can understand back then just being like super into something, but now you could literally be super into like 8 million things at once. So I don't really know why you need to nerd out so hard over wrestling, but again, I'm more mature, so I have a different viewpoint than young punks out there.
People have like ongoing Excel spreadsheets about like how they rated matches. Like, what did you do this morning that made you want to do that? I don't understand how you have a fucking like really? I don't know.
Yeah,
it's not for me.
Here's some life advice for you kids out there that like wrestling. I understand you're younger and you want to be super into something, and probably you want to be a know-it-all, because when you were under 21 or under, I would even say for men 23 and under is a big know-it-all time in your life, when you just want to know everything and no one can tell you nothing. Just like Kanye West can't tell me nothing. And I will tell you this as an old man. You are never going to get laid as much in your life as you are between the ages of like 16 and 23. So please find a different hobby, because that should be your number one priority at that age, because you are just going to get uglier and fatter and no one is going to have sex with you.
Damn. I'm gonna put a fucking funk flex bomb right here. Right? Yeah, right here. 2 of them.
I'm just saying that, like, my whole entire life, like, if I know like a young kid, not anymore, I'm way too old to be hanging out with young kids, but like when I was like a little older compared to like other people in like the punk and hardcore scene, and they were like all aggro at 18, I would be like, listen, man, you need to concentrate on having sex with girls because like it's all downhill from here, man. These are like the times of your life. This is what you need to do. So I'm telling you, the young wrestling fan out there, do not concentrate on Excel spreadsheets because you should not know that unless you have a job in an office. Concentrate on talking to women.
Yo, if you made a pivot table this year about fucking Evolve shows, like, kill yourself.
Okay, my next one. Okay, in order, I guess I'm gonna go with this one next. This is an odd pet peeve for me, but it does bother me a lot. I am not a fan of children, but if you go to like a WWE event or really any event where you're sitting next to a child, act right. If you're sitting next to that kid,
dude, absolutely cosign.
Yeah, don't act like a smark, as they say. Don't act like a fucking dick. Watch your mouth. Like, it's a little kid. This little kid is going to enjoy this wrestling more than you ever will because you're an old adult and you've already had your time as a little kid being like, you know, being impressed by wrestling. I remember going to wrestling at like age 9 or something, or like with my fucking face painted like Demolition.
Oh, shit.
If there was somebody sitting next to me, like screaming out, Mr. Wrestling or something like that, like I would have been so fucking pissed. I wouldn't have been the dude making this podcast now because I would have gave up on this stupid hobby. I think the guy from Demolition was Mr. Wrestling, right? I don't know.
Axe. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, he was one of those guys. He had like a gimmick before Demolition, but yeah, just if you're around kids, I'm sorry if you were like trying to while out and you got stuck near a kid, but you got to act right near kids.
Nah, my friends get super henny wasted and they start swearing and it makes me feel super weird. I tell them to like cool it, but yeah, like I have a big hang up too about swearing in front of children. I don't do it. I know people that do it and I do judge them. So yeah, chill out, man. They're 9. They just want to see the Usos. And I get that you don't think the Usos have good work rate, but keep it to yourself, man. That kid doesn't care. Yeah. You shouldn't care. And let's just have a good time at this fucking house show.
Is that it? Are you out of them?
My last one, I think you are also on this page. But if you use insider terms outside of the internet and in real life, like, you should really stop. Like, I was going to explain this with like role playing, but I forget that. Like, if you ever like were trying to figure out a place to eat with your friend, and if you're someone that was like, hey, are you working me? You want to go in and out? Are you kayfabing me? Like, I bet you someone does that out there. And if you're listening, I don't think you are, because this is not the show for you. Those words are not for you to use, honestly. Don't say, hey, I'm shooting right now. I want to go to In-N-Out. Just say, I want to go to In-N-Out. That's okay. Like, you don't have to pretend that you're Jim Cornette in your real life. It's fine.
Yeah. We all have jobs in real life, hopefully. And we all have like terms that we use at those jobs because we have to. Yeah. Like TPS reports, you know, from the office space and stuff like that. You don't go out, like, I don't say all these weird lingo outside of my work because no one cares. Yeah. And that's the same with wrestling. That was also, it was pretty much on my list too. Basically, don't be a know-it-all. It's one thing if you're talking discreetly to your friend, but it seems anytime these people are at an event I'm at, is they try and say it as loudly as they can.
Yeah.
As if there might be a wrestler in the crowd to be like, oh man, he knows the insider lingo. I'm going to hang out with this guy.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like I said, it's just not for you to use. I mean, I can understand if you're trying to like use it like in a message board argument. Go ahead and use the word kayfabe. Yeah. It's fine. But if you think that like you using those words makes you like a better wrestling fan than like the 8-year-old kid we were talking about previously, you're delusional. Yes. And you really should stop because you're not that cool. I promise you.
Yes. No one is a bigger fan of wrestling than an 8-year-old kid. Yeah. And no matter how many spreadsheets you make or how many insider terms you know. So I'll just get over it.
Yo, as an aside, like, I mean, you and I have had this Twitter for a couple months. Like, have you noticed, like, is this a thing that people pretend to like Triple H to instigate other fans into being mad at them? Like, there are like these like weird sociological things on Twitter or Wrestle Twitter that I kind of like am catching on to. And I've noticed that, and I've noticed a lot of people who aren't from the UK using the word lad. And if you're like that, you should also stop.
Yeah, I think Twitter in general, but it seems specifically wrestling Twitter. It's probably the same in sports Twitter too, but I don't really follow enough sports to follow people that are into sports. But outside of Welf, who's out there who loves baseball,
yo, fuck the Mets.
With...
What's up? 16 Giants all day. Cueto MVP. What up?
But outside of him, I don't follow sports people, and it just seems like, yeah, especially the wrestling, it's just people like firing off hot takes, just like looking for a response.
Yeah.
Or just people taking Twitter like super seriously. And
Sure.
like, I don't know, man. Just don't do that stuff. It's Twitter. No one cares about your opinion. There's millions of people that have Twitter. Just post good content and nothing else. Okay, so then I have two more.
Yeah.
One is this is definitely, it might just be a personal pet peeve, and it goes along with showering, but anytime I'm at a wrestling event, it seems there's more people in sweatpants than I'd like to see in public in sweatpants. And it's, again, you're at a public event, put on your good pants. They don't even have to be good. They just don't have to be sweatpants. Unless you are at the gym 24/7, you shouldn't be wearing sweatpants. Also, wrestling is a big proponent of fat people that wear shorts year round. I know that's different for you because you're on the West Coast, so it's probably more common for people to wear shorts year round there. But
yeah, it'll be short season here, like next week. Yeah, real talk.
Yeah. Over here, like, it'll be like 48 degrees and people are like, oh, I got to get my shorts on. My legs are just always hot. And it's like, lose some weight then. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You shouldn't wear shorts when it's like, I have like big personal hang-ups with shorts as it is. Like, I think
like
they're only for certain
You don't like
occasions.
wearing them at all, or like, is that what you mean?
I wear them because it's like fucking so humid sometimes, but
yeah.
I don't like, I think you should, like, jean shorts obviously are weird. Just like, I don't know. Like I said, they're my own personal hang-ups, but again, sweatpants are just like, I don't know. Like, I know they make like fashion sweatpants, quote unquote fashion sweatpants.
I was gonna say they started making tapered sweatpants, and I wore a pair on a Friday to work, and I was feeling really good about myself because I felt real comfy, and I was just killing those Word documents that day because I was like, you know, in my zone. Like, I think it's more acceptable to wear sweatpants these days because they made them tapered.
Yeah, like I have a pair that I got for free of streetwear sweatpants, and they're super comfortable. But like, I would never wear them outside the house. I mean, they're super loud, and I'm way too old to be wearing that type of shit outside the house. But like, even if I was young, like, I can't, man. I just can't.
As an aside, do you have camo shorts as a top tier, a number one shorts?
No, I wear like lame dad shorts now, just because. I'm so
like above the knee, like
them.
Pete Sampras shorts? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I did, like, this is very sad, but I basically had camo shorts that weren't camo for a long time.
Wait, what?
And then I got fake, like, I just like the type of camo shorts, like the type, that kind of cut and everything, but they were just like khaki instead of camo.
Oh, okay.
But I got fake blood all over them, so I can't wear them anymore. So now I just wear like Nantucket red shorts and then like streetwear shorts, but like that's it. So. But I mean, still, I wear pants like 98% of the time. I hate wearing shorts.
That sounds terrible. Like from probably next week until October, I'll wear camo shorts all day, and it's gonna be dope. I can't wait.
Yeah, I guess if I lived out there, it would be different.
Yeah, you'd love it.
And the last one is, again, this is more internet than actual wrestling events, but don't plan live disruptions on the internet. Like, I think that happened at Royal Rumble, where people were like making lists and passing it around to be like, when they do this, then you boo that and stuff like that. That is the absolute most corniest thing I've ever seen, like, associated with wrestling, I think. That is like the most virgin shit. Just like, just pay a prostitute or something at that point. Like, you just need that full release in your life to get you over this hump where, I don't know, take a shower. You'll feel better. Just take a fucking shower. You'll throw that list right in the garbage.
I don't know if it was legit, but there was a Roman Reigns account. It was like, they were trying to start like a live disruption for Roman Reigns.
Oh, it was legit. It was legit.
Yeah, and so legit. Like, I went through that dude's like tweets and responses, and he was like, "Hey, I'm 5'10", I have spiked hair and an athletic build. If you have something to say, meet with me." And I'm like, that is not you. Stop it. Like, if you hate Roman Reigns that much, like, you are not muscular at all. Like, please stop. I wish I had that guy's like handle like on hand, because it's amazing. And if you're listening, you should definitely try to track it down and check it out. Because yeah, it was just him like reaching out to all these dudes like, hey, if you want to talk about it face to face, meet me section 222. I got spiked hair and I'm 5'10". What's up? And that guy was not meeting with anybody.
That is the one thing I'll give Wale credit for, is when a fan at a WWE event was talking shit about him, and he got at him in real life, and Wale was briefly banned from WWE events. But
those are our gripes. I know we sound salty, but hey, we're old. If you have any gripes that you want to share, email us virtualpros64@gmail.com, and we'll read them for sure. Up next, VRTL mixtape, dedication to the god, Hayabusa, R.I.P. EIJI. Stay tuned.
Our friends think we're opposites, falling in and out of love. They all said we never last, still we manage to stay together. There's no easy explanation for it, but whenever there's a problem, we always work it out somehow. Work it out somehow. They said it wouldn't last, but we had to prove it wrong. 'Cause I've learned in the past that love would never do without. Said it wouldn't last, but we had to prove it wrong. 'Cause I've learned in the past that love would never do without. Easy, easy. There's no easy.
For tonight's episode of Virtual Pros, episode 12, is the VRTL mixtape. Please peep us and subscribe at bit.ly/capital VRTLM mixtape. VRTL mixtape, all capital letters except for the mixtape.
If that is too much for you to remember, you can just go to YouTube and type in VRTL Pros. It's like the only thing on our YouTube. So
there you go.
You can just do that.
I put
hit subscribe.
Yeah, please hit subscribe. I added just a great little diddly of what did I upload? Cutie Suzuki and Mayumi Ozaki wrestling in mud. So if you're a creep, check that shit out. Anyway, today's mixtape, we're gonna be talking about the life and times of Hayabusa. Mike, you're up first.
Yes. We were planning on doing an all Hayabusa episode before he died, so now we just look like little ghouls doing it after he died, but this is now a tribute instead of a homage. But first up is, I was telling Al off air, as iconic and legendary as Hayabusa was, he only really has like 15 known matches that people like lose their shit over, which is real odd when you think about it. But I think one of the most legendary matches is Hayabusa and Onita in the Exploding Cage match from May 1995. It was a pretty iconic match. This was the match that more or less influenced me to buy Fire Pro G, because I remember seeing like a little screenshot of the electrified exploding cage in Fire Pro G, and I was like, holy shit, I could replicate that match in a video game. That's insane. And so it was a big influence on me. The first thing I want to mention about this match is if you go to our specific playlist, VRTL Pros on YouTube, is the VHS quality of this rip. And again, if you are a young kid out there and you didn't have to deal with VHS, please watch this match and know we had to deal with this all the time. Like, we had to deal with waiting a week or two for a tape to come in the mail and then put it in and be like, I could kind of see Hayabusa, but it's just like pretty muddy. This would be if you were a kind of a shady tape trader, this would be a G, as in good, but it's probably more of a fine instead of a good. It's a fine quality.
Definitely a G recorded in SLP for sure.
Yes.
8 hour.
So that really brought me back, and was half the reason I put this on there. Another thing you will immediately notice is, again, this is an exploding cage, and outside of that, it's also electrified, and I assume there's barbed wire thrown in there too.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really rinky-dink setup because it looks ridiculous because it's like this rinky-dink thin cage covered in stuff like explosives, whatever it's covered in. But what you will notice is that the referee is dressed as if a nuclear bomb is about to hit. He's wearing like a foil jacket and goggles, and like he is just ready for this.
He's dressed like Homer Simpson, like in the intro, where he's like carrying around the isotope or whatever. That's what he looks like.
Yes,
it's kind of cool.
Yes. Yeah. Outside of that, this match technically is kind of garbage. It's a lot of headlock takedowns.
Yeah.
Outside of the throwing into the cage and the explosions and pushing each other in the cage, it's a lot of nonsense. But then the bomb alarm starts to sound, which is sounds very evil. Again, it sounds like if you're at a nuclear reactor and somebody hit the emergency button, and that goes on for a good 3 minutes until they finally count down. And this is when they start picking it up and doing actual moves. And then finally the ring explodes as it is. It's mostly just a ton of smoke going into the air. It looks insane. I can't imagine having been there live, like how fucking crazy that would have been to see live. Just like, because it looks like a disaster.
Like, if I sat front row for that, like, you are getting on that train, like, just covered in dust. Yeah,
it's ridiculous. I can't believe a venue let them get away with this. This is just preposterous by so many standards. Outside of that, this is when Onita was still in his blue panties and white wife beater. He's still a little chunky. He was the classic Onita in this. Kind of a dick because the most memorable spot in this match is Hayabusa climbing the cage and doing the moonsault off the cage, and Onita just rolls out of the way, which is kind of fucked up. I mean, it's fake. Let him hit it. Like, it's shitty. It's shitty that he made him jump into nothing. But it looks cool. And then, of course, Onita wins because this was like a year and I think less than a year into Hayabusa's run, so he wasn't big enough to be beating Onita yet. But again, it's probably, when you think of Hayabusa, it's one of his most memorable matches.
Well, this was Onita's retirement match, so it's just kind of like the passing of the torch. And usually with those kinds of matches, they have the person who's retiring lose, but I think Onita's such a fucking, I don't know, he's just so into himself that he was like, I'm not going to lose.
And he knew he wasn't really retiring.
Yeah, Mr. Liar, dude. That's him. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, a lot of this match is just them teasing them running through the cage. Everything like just seems like inconsequential because you're just kind of waiting for this bomb to go off. But I mean, visually, this match is crazy. And so, like, when that bomb goes off, every move they do, like, just plumes of dust, like, just rise up from the ring whenever they hit moves. So, like, when Hayabusa hits the moonsault, you just see a cloud, like, surround him after he misses. And, yeah, I think it's just so remarkable that they were able to sell out this baseball stadium, Kawasaki Stadium, with no TV.
Is that where it is?
Yeah, Kawasaki.
Okay, so it's open air then.
Yeah,
so
it's open air. Yeah,
okay.
It's not like they had like a Tokyo Dome or anything, because I think if you did that, people would be dead. Yeah, because it was just like so much pollution was just going in the air that night. But yeah, when the alarm starts to hit, they really start to pick it up. And it's definitely worth watching if you want to get into FMW, or if you're into FMW, you definitely fuck with this match.
Yeah, I have to see if like IVP Video or Rudo Reels has this in good quality, because I think this is the best quality I've ever seen this match. I don't think I've ever seen it like crystal clear ever in my life.
As an aside, did you see Shinsuke? He tweeted at IVP like, "Where are my royalties?"
Oh my god, seriously?
Yeah, because they were like,
Wow.
"Best of Shinsuke, like on sale now," and he like was like, "Where are my royalties at?" And that shit was the best.
Wow,
yeah,
that's crazy.
He's the man. One of the matches that I picked was from All Japan, November '97, from the Real World Tag League between Mitsuharu Misawa and Jun Akiyama versus Hayabusa and Jinsei Shinzaki. This match is kind of a bummer because 2 of the people in this match are dead, and it's the best 2 guys too. I'd never seen this match previously, so I was kind of expecting like a way better match than our first All Japan Pro Wrestling review with Kawada and Taue, but it was kind of a dud. They were like, this was like a 20-minute match, I think, and they're like sleepwalking for like 15 minutes of it. There's this part where Shinzaki does his rope walk, and he does it right next to Akiyama, and like Akiyama could just easily like just trip him, but he didn't, so it looked kind of fake. But the last 4 or 5 minutes, was it was really good. Like you see all of Hayabusa's highlight moves. Like you see him do the 450, you see him do the Phoenix Splash, and he hits these like it's just so picturesque. Like it's GIF worthy the way he hits these moves. I was also kind of wondering, like, I wonder if it's cold in that building because everyone in that crowd is like bundled up in scarves and coats, and it was kind of weird to like watch a wrestling match with no graphic tees. Other than that, this match is a little bit of a dud, but the last couple of minutes are really good, so, give your star ratings away that way.
Yes. The first thing I had about this match is this match, as opposed to the last match, is really great quality. I don't know where they got this tape from, but it looks crystal clear. I don't think I've ever seen anything from the Real World Tag League look this good, because if you go back into our mixtape and look at that other match, that is definitely an F for fine. And this is like near mint, or like very, very good, or excellent. There we go, excellent.
VG plus. I give it a VG plus.
VG plus. Yeah, as you were saying, I don't know what it is. Akiyama is kind of trying. Misawa, like, I don't know if he hates these guys or what, but he is like not into this match at all. He's just like, whatever. I was Tiger Mask too. I was doing this shit back when you were fucking rookies. Screw you guys. I had a question for you.
Yeah.
Like Misawa has to be the #1 wrestler of all time, always fixing his waistline. Like it has to be. He does it more than LL Cool J licks his lips. Like all he does is fix his waistline like every 25 seconds in every single match he's ever been in.
Damn,
just get new pants, dude.
That's kind of his tick. Yeah, you're dead on. That's amazing.
But yeah, like he's just like, I don't know, he's just not into this match at all.
Nah.
I don't know what happened. I don't know if Shinzaki said something. On the other hand, Shinzaki, who was known to be lazy every once in a while back then, was really giving it his all. I wouldn't say this match was a dud. I would say this is more, at least the first 3/4 of this match is very much in the All Japan mold, but it's not people getting dropped on their heads.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like an All Japan, like, like mid-card tag match instead of these legends meeting. And, yeah, overall, this is sort of like the Kawada Taue match, except way not good. Because at the end, like, Hayabusa is just doing everything he's ever learned in wrestling, and he's not going to win anyways. So Akiyama's just taking it, and then I think Misawa just gets the pin from just a Tiger Driver, I believe.
Yeah, it was like kind of like, considering all the heavy hitters in this match, I thought I was in for like a classic, and I was just a little let down, I guess. And you're right, like
I think
Hayabusa,
that's why that other match always
he like nails everything like so perfectly, and Akiyama's like, "Hey, here's an exploder. We won." Like, come on, man.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was Exploder. Yeah, I think that's why that other match always gets the shine over this one, because this is kind of a dud overall.
Yep.
Okay, next up is a little match from FMW. I wish I wrote down the name of the event because it's ridiculous, but this was from December of '97, only a month after this very classy, not weaponless match. Hayabusa was involved in a barbed wire baseball bat ladder war games cage match. And this featured the team of Hayabusa, Shinzaki, and Masato Tanaka versus Onita, Mr. Gansuke, and Wing Kanemaru. Onita and Kanemaru looking very slim in this match. War game style means that they come in like every 2 minutes, but it's so quick it doesn't matter. Like they're all in the ring so quickly. But the reason I like this match is because it's literally like a video game. This is like how people play video games, but it's real human beings. Like Hayabusa just comes in the match and starts swinging ladders, and you never see that in wrestling.
Yeah.
And except unless you're playing a video game, and so it's pretty amazing. If you are a frail, sensitive baby, I wouldn't say this would make a ghoul mixtape, but it's pretty close because they have no regard for their body in this. There's a part where Gansuke and Kanemaru are taking turns dropping Hayabusa, like hitting him with these suplexes where he's landing like literally on the top of his head. It is fucking ridiculous. There is a part in this match that I'd like to make a GIF out of at some point, or a little video on Instagram, VRTL Pros on Instagram, where Gansuke hits Tanaka with a steel chair, a steel chair with the cushion. Yeah. Right on top of the head, the cushion pops out. Tanaka, unfazed, just gives him a hell of a clothesline right after that. It's a pretty amazing sequence. The main story of this, though, is at the end of the match, Hayabusa hits that fucking moonsault on Onita. Onita is not retiring after this match, so he is getting hit with that fucking moonsault, and it is beautiful off the cage. But yeah, overall, this is like a super fun match. I feel like at this point, FMW was very aware of the popularity of ECW, and they were just like, you know what? We're going to do that one better. We're going to do the same style match, and we are just going to go off on each other. And surprisingly, there's either very little or no blood in this match. As much like violence as is in this match, there's like really no blood at all. But I would definitely, out of all these matches, I would definitely check this one out the most because it's a great match.
Yeah, going back to the moonsault from the cage, this moonsault is way better because it's way higher than the cage they had at Kawasaki Stadium, because that cage is like maybe 7 feet tall, whereas this cage is pretty proper, like it's a good 10 feet off the ring, and that moonsault looked pretty majestic. My notes were, I'm super glad that you picked this match because this was my first tape from High Spots. It was this and King of the Death match. So I was like,
was it the whole event or just this match?
I think this match was on it. I think it was like some commercial tape, but this match was definitely on that commercial tape. I think it was a commercial tape. Anyway, this match is on there, so I was really pumped to finally see this. After
This is from FMW Super Extreme Wrestling War 1997. That was the full name of the card.
Real succinct there, guys. I'm loving Onita's Hitman tights. I remember like when I got this tape, I was like, why is he dressed like Bret Hart? That's really weird. But yeah, it was kind of weird that there was no blood, seeing as there was a barbed wire bat and there's a ladder and there was like 6 FMW dudes, but I don't think it took away from the match at all. I'm generally like not a huge fan of like just brawls, but this one is super smart and I loved it. A lot of the comeback spots are really, really good. And I love how Gansuke and Kanemaru are like Bobby Hill in that episode where like he thinks he can fight, but he just like punching people in the dick, and like Hank Hill is mortified. And like that's like their entire offense of just like them hitting Hayabusa in the dick, and it's like super heelish, and I love it. Onita's kind of played out at this point. Like he's like kind of like that Hollywood Hulk Hogan, where like he's kind of going off of his his past, and like no one respects him. Like there's like 5 dudes in the ring that are like way better than you, and you're not believable. But yeah, this match is super fun. It was probably like the best match out of the 4 that we picked. Lastly, I was gonna upload Gansuke and Hayabusa from the first DirecTV pay-per-view. That's the match where Gansuke blew out his knee like within the first 5 minutes, but still wrestled. And that might be my favorite FMW match of all time, but I just didn't get to it. So instead, I picked Masato Tanaka versus Hayabusa at DirecTV pay-per-views. It was from 5/5/2000. Backdraft. There you go. The entrances are like a quarter of this match, or how long this match was allotted, and that was really weird. Masato Tanaka looks ridiculous. Like, I wrote down Bugle Boy model for some reason. I forgot why. And I think it's because of his mullet that he has. And he has like this chain necklace that like is only like reserved for beefcakes. But Masato Tanaka broke it out for whatever reason. The announce team is like super extra on this match. There's a lot of weird moaning and like really loud screaming. I'm not sure if that's like something that has to do with DirecTV and how they like, I don't know, leveled their microphones, but it was kind of distracting. This match, like, it's pretty good build up, but within the span of like 2 minutes, Hayabusa takes two of like the most horrific bumps I've ever seen. Tanaka does the outside power bomb onto a table spot, and like he kind of slides off of it, and he hits the ground super hard. And then afterwards, he hits like this half Nelson suplex, and Hayabusa legit lands on the crown of his head, and it's really bad. I was gonna make an Insta video of it, but I have respect for the dead, and so I'm gonna hold off on that. Tanaka later, he takes his Phoenix Splash, and he takes 2 knees to the ribs, and I'm guessing that's a receipt for doing that to Hayabusa, because that wasn't cool. Other than that, the match is actually pretty good. Definitely worth watching. bit.ly/VRTL mixtape. Check us out.
Yes, or just VRTL Pros on YouTube.
There you go.
Yeah, I was telling Al off air. It was bothering me so much watching this because this is a tape I had, and
oh shit.
I was like looking on the internet. I was like, why the fuck can't I find this? Because if you search Tanaka versus Hayabusa, there's 2 previous matches from '98 that pop up. They fought each other in May of '98, and I was like, I know it's not these matches because I know the FMW 2000 direct TV setup by heart. It's ingrained in my brain.
This is the Red Ring, Red Ring version.
Yeah, so I was like, this is a 2000 pay-per-view, and it's because this is when he was still going as H. So it took me until the end of the match when he takes his mask off, and I was like, oh, he's fucking H in this, to figure it out. It's really bugging me because like years and years of marijuana and getting older, like I don't like it doesn't in the grand scheme of things. It doesn't matter that I don't remember this, but I remember like the whole backstory of this match at one point, but I just it escapes me. Like there's a reason Shinzaki's there and he's dressed in all black, but I can't remember why.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, as Al mentioned, Tanaka power bombs Hayabusa to the outside of the ring, and he's supposed to land safely on a table, but instead just skids off of it and lands back first onto the hard, unforgiving concrete. Right after that, they cut to Shinzaki in the crowd, looking bored as hell, and I give him credit for no selling that horrible thing that just happened to his friend.
Oh yeah, someone chants ECW, and they cut to Shinzaki, and he's like, he just has this stoic face, and I just imagine he just thinks his fan is super annoying.
Yeah, there's some ECW people on this card.
Yeah.
I know there's like a Sabu match. But outside of that, there's another horrific spot where I think it's the corkscrew is the Phoenix Splash, right?
Yeah. I've heard it called so many different things, but that's the Phoenix Splash, I believe, and he has the 450.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people use it interchangeably, but who knows? I'm not Japanese.
Yeah, it's the corkscrew. He does the corkscrew. He misses Tanaka by a good few feet, lands directly on his head. And that's pretty scary to watch. Like, seeing the way he died now is kind of morbid watching all these matches, but
oh hell yeah.
You know, you don't think about these things, you know, when these guys are alive, but it's I guess this is this whole entire entry of the mixtape is kind of just a warning sign for you aspiring wrestlers to not be Hayabusa, because you will end up fucked up. Outside of that, yeah, this is a great match. These guys have always had chemistry together. Tanaka is unfortunately still wrestling. And I mean, he's not half bad still from like the newer stuff I've seen of him, but like seeing him in this match and seeing him in the cage match, and like he's so fast and he's still like so brutal, and it's amazing that guy can like still count to 10, because he's taken some fucking serious bumps in his life. But yeah, I would recommend anything that has to do with these two guys. I would recommend any of these old 2000 FNW pay-per-views, even though the undercards are like the shit, or the shits, I should say, not the shit. But they're still fun to watch, and yeah, it's a good way to end this little entry, I think.
Oh yeah, I forgot to add that it's kind of a note that Hayabusa has no front teeth. I didn't know that.
Yeah. He has a jacked up grill for sure.
That was Virtual Pros episode 12. R.I.P. Hayabusa, man. He was gonna walk again. I think it was his plan to wrestle 2 years from now. And honestly, he probably would have done it, man. That dude's crazy.
He did walk last year.
He did walk. Yeah. He did walk. They're gonna set up some kind of like ramp or something for him to get in the ring, but you know, it never happened. It's just super tragic, actually. It was this guy that like he should have gotten way more breaks. Like I think he was supposed to go to New Japan. I think Liger wanted him, but it just never happened. And I just think things should have went
too much. He had too much whatever with FMW.
Yeah, he was just too loyal, you know what I mean? He's just being a company man.
Too much loyalty, yeah.
And it's just, I mean, he was on Thunder, WCW Thunder, and they had no time for him. Like, are you kidding me? You guys had Lenny Lane on TV, and you had no time for Hayabusa? Like, it was just this dude that was so good at what he was doing, but he just got no breaks. But, you know, we hope you enjoyed listening to our Hayabusa retrospective. Please follow us on Twitter at VRTLPros. Follow us on Instagram. We're posting some really, really good shit nowadays. If you've never seen Giant Baba in a baseball uniform, you can do that now. Also, subscribe to us on iTunes if you haven't already, and hit us up on SoundCloud. Any last words, Mike?
I have no last words for you.
Hey, no last words.
Take a shower. That's my last word. Take a fucking shower.
I gave this episode 4 stars. That was Virtual Pros episode 12. See you later.